What's going on YouTube? PyroTakun here, bringing you a kind of a really what if situation. Like, what if Nintendo made their next handheld a mix between a 3DS and a smartphone? So, yeah, pretty crazy. I know last video I talked about there's always going to be a need for both devices, but this is kind of what if those were the same device. Now, I know in the past it's been done before. Companies try to mix a gaming device and a phone, and in the past it just hasn't really been quite so successful. Most recently we had Sony with their Xperia Play, or the Excursion, or whatever the fuck it's called. And there's a couple reasons why that failed. One was that its specs were significantly kind of on the low end for a smartphone. And another reason was there were still rumors that the Vita was coming out, which was going to be their handheld device that focused on video games. So, I mean, there's a couple more reasons, but those being kind of pretty significant. And the other device that tried to do this in the past is the N-Gage, or I think that's what it's called. I shouldn't even have to explain that. But this video is about Nintendo. What if Nintendo made their next handheld a mix between a smartphone and a device focused on gaming? So here it is. I drew up some designs on paper, and this is what I came up with. I made a 3D model. It looks pretty crappy. And boom! Here it is, son. Alright, so in order for comparison for this, I do have two other devices to compare it to. Obviously, my smartphone is the Evo, not 3D, just the Evo. And my 3DS, I even took the extended battery off of this to go ahead and give a pretty decent comparison. So first, I'm going to go ahead and do the smartphone aspect of it, because I feel like that'll be simpler, like it'll make more sense. So here we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started by viewing this thing from a smartphone perspective. Here we go. And I'll go ahead and bring it up close, start from top to bottom. Up here is the notification light that's actually for 3DS. Speakers, like speakers, again for 3DS, and if you have it in smartphone mode, it's, you know, kind of like this. 3D slider right here. Inner camera. Giant fucking screen, obviously. Speakers down here again for 3DS, and a microphone in here as well for, again, talking on the phone. Then we have the different, you know, buttons down here. We have a home, back, search, and start button, which is basically kind of identical to my smartphone. I can't see, it's too fucking shiny, but anyone that like has a standard smartphone, there's like a home, menu, back, and search button. Basically, I replaced the menu with the start button. It's the same thing anyways. Just put the start button on there because it's more Nintendo-like. Right, so from here, if you look at the top like this, SD card slot. This is both for 3DS and the smartphone. Save data. Something like this, I wouldn't even put internal memory in there because SD cards are pretty standard, and maybe have it come with like a 4 gig. Anyways, SD card, power button, because basically that's how the Evo is. You got the power button up here. I don't even know if you guys can fucking see it. Yeah, power button right there. So again, it's, kind of with the smartphone in mind, that's where power button placement's right there. And that's basically it for a top. I mean, you can see the L button, but I'll get to that. Alright, now from the bottom, I got the stylus. This is with a 3DS design in mind. That's all that's really down here is the stylus and the R button. But, yep. So, like, oh, right. From the side, if I turn it this way, headphones and volume. So I can control the volume right here. Power buttons up here, 3DS sliders right here, or the 3D sliders right here. So it's pretty much built around kind of a smartphone design. From here, the only thing smartphone related is the charger. Well, I mean, that's just related to the device in general, but it uses a smartphone charger. Uses, if I can find that bad boy, right here. It's a pretty universal charger. I'm sure you guys recognize it. So from the smartphone perspective, that's pretty much the gist of it. Oh, the back 3D cameras, 2 cameras for 3D, and that's basically the gist of the smartphone design. Now if I open it up like this, it's not a flip, it's a slide design. It slides out because basically that's the only way such a device would work. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at this from a 3DS perspective. Alright, let me just go ahead and open up the 3DS so you guys see. Oh, what did I do? I clicked on the camera. Son of a bitch. Alright, anyways. The 3DS, as you can see, it's roughly the same size. They're actually the same thickness. This was supposed to be thinner, but I couldn't fucking fold the cardboard to be that damn skinny. So the top screen is supposed to be thinner. It's supposed to be a bit thinner than 3DS. But yep, here's like a size comparison. Now roughly the bottom screen is the same size because of the slide design. Even with these buttons gone down here, they're moved basically right here. Even with those buttons gone, the bottom screen is basically the same size because of the slide design. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and close the 3DS for now. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at this device. Start with the top screen. Again, this was the smartphone screen. Notification light, speakers, inner camera, and the 3D slider is up here. Weird placement for the 3D slider, I know, but again, I had to build this with both the smartphone and 3DS design in mind. So, not too shabby. Giant fucking screen. Significantly bigger than the 3DS. Now, like I said, the bottom screen is roughly the same. I got the D-pad, circle pad, diamond buttons, and since I moved the power button, I had enough room for a second circle pad down there. So, 2 circle pads, D-pad, and diamond buttons. Again, 3D multi-touch screen, 3D multi-touch, single touch screen. So, there's that from that point of view. Alright, if I turn it this way, again, this side just has the stylus and the R button. So, it kind of mimics the DS Lite or the DSi, whichever one that had it here on the right, like upper right. I think that was like the best placement for it, so that's where I put it. See here, let's go ahead and just flip it over to the back so y'all see. The 3D cameras had to be moved down here instead of up here, because if you slide it close, then you can still use the 3D cameras for the smartphone. Obviously, that's the 3DS card slot, and the placement for the battery goes back here. Alright, so turn it over here. SD card slots pretty much in the same spot. L button and power button. Now, there might be issues with the power button being here, but I went ahead and, like, when I play the 3DS, I'm kind of playing it like this. See, like, this space right here? This is where the power button is. My finger's not really near that space. And I have pretty small hands, so I'm sure those of you with bigger hands are actually even further away from the power button. So I don't see it being a big problem. But it's a potential problem. So, SD, power button, L. Let's see what else. Oh, right here. Down here, headphones and the volume button. Now, again, holding it like this, I'm not really anywhere near the volume button, and volume buttons, I should say. And the headphones is the only thing I find in like a weird location. It's basically the same as the DSi. It was in like the bottom right, but given the design, I couldn't really put it anywhere else. Right, and on the back, again, you got your shoulder buttons. This is basically just the same as the 3DS, but I just moved the stylus. Shoulder buttons, the infrared sensor thing, and the charger. So, there's that. That pretty much covers the design of the 3DS smartphone kind of thing I have in mind. Put it into perspective. My crappy ghetto cardboard 3D model's roughly the same thickness. Actually, just roughly the same size altogether as a 3DS. But keep in mind, the top screen is supposed to be a bit thinner, again, because of the slide design. But more or less, it's the same size. So it is, I mean, it fits in your pocket fairly well. Don't know what else to say, really. I mean, it has both designs in mind. And the thing is, people are always like, oh, I don't want to carry 2 devices. Well, this would be that one device. Now, for something like this, that's both a smartphone and a handheld device, that focuses on video games, I would pay quite a bit of money for, because it means I'd be able to get rid of my smartphone, it means I'd be able to trade in my 3DS, and I'd have the one device that basically does everything to the extent that I want it to. So I'm not sure what the specs on something like this would be, because I don't know exactly when it would come out. I don't know if it'd be the next generation of Nintendo handhelds or whatever, but for pricing, I think $300 to $350 would be a reasonable price for something like this. Again, a handheld device that does everything to the extent I want it to. It has all that focus on video games, but it also has smartphone features as well. And with that, I think that concludes this video. Go ahead, comment below. Let me know what you think. Is this cool? Is this stupid? Am I fucking crazy? Just go ahead. Let me know. Have at it. Is this something you would buy? Like, legit, if this device came out a few years from now, good 4 to 5 years from now, would you buy something like this? A 3DS smartphone, basically. Would you pay $300 to $350 for such a device, knowing that you could get rid of your smartphone and your 3DS and have the one thing that does both of them basically to the same extent? Go ahead, let me know. That concludes this video. PyroTakun, out.